Hey, everyone. This is Andy Hall. Glad that you're here. Glad that you could make it. Let's start out with something funny before we get to the news.
I grew up with three brothers. I was the only girl. I was definitely a tomboy growing up. But my parents, they wanted me to be more ladylike, so they gave me less allowance. And, I mean, it was my fault. I never asked for a raise or anything, so...
Hey. So, it's Monday. It's Monday. What's up, James Henry? Glad to see you. Derek Cruz, pleasure to have you here. And, of course, Mr. Templeman, arguably one of the coolest last names ever. So, and Simply Secular, right on the nose. I guess it's right on the nose. So, yeah, I thought that, what am I calling this? The Disappointed Cat Morning Show. I think that's as good a name as any, to tell you the truth. I think that's as good a name as any. But should I keep it or can it, do you think? Do you think I should keep the Disappointed Cat Morning Show? I think it has a certain kind of flavor to it that I think points to the absurdity of maybe everything. Second cup of coffee. If I say second cup of coffee enough times, maybe it'll help the caffeine energize my neurons, my synapses there. Now, James Henry says we should keep it. I think we should keep it too, because let's face it. It gives you the warm fuzzies. All right, Simply Secular, very good. At this point, I've been doing the show for what? Weeks, maybe months at this point. I don't know. And the people who I've alienated due to the humor or due to the content, that's just already happened. So I'm not going to alienate any more people with the name of the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. And the people who like it already bought into the sense of humor and the sensibilities of the show. What's up, Donald? And Jess, good morning. That seems like really energetic, like a good morning with an exclamation point. I don't know if I'm really in my heart. I don't know if I have that good morning exclamation point in me right now. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to have that kind of zen. So yeah, the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. I think I'm going to keep it for a while. Then there's nothing more disheartening than a disappointed cat. Well, I think that's ideal for like a morning news show then, right? You've had too much coffee already. I'm sorry to hear that. So what are we really doing here? I feel like I'm back in therapy with the therapist. When he felt like I was just going off topic, he said, so what are we doing here? Let's recenter, refocus. The stories we're going over today. Florida, we're covering Florida and Texas. Texas is getting two heapings because it's Texas. I'm talking a little bit about Japan and, of course, Evangelicals. Nothing but fun on the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. I love Disappointed Cats because I'm a dog person. Yep. I hear you. Some funny stuff. Let's go with some more funny stuff. Maybe funny memes. I thought this was funny. Heroic Ted Cruz travels to Cancun to lasso the sun to bring it back to Texas. Oh, that Ted Cruz, he's so brave. He's so brave. I don't know if you've seen the Saturday Night Live episode that aired on Saturday night, but they had a bit about Ted Cruz. And he offered a really crappy apology, which is what you would expect from Ted Cruz. This next picture, if there was a sign to run away from a relationship, if you're involved with someone and they gave you this picture, and let's just go straight out that this picture has your partner's face plastered all over it, even if it's a joke gift. I don't know. It would be a bit much for me. I don't know if I would really be able to be with a person who would give me their face plastered all over a t-shirt, even as a joke. Even as a joke. I think that would be a sign. That would be at least a yellow flag, a yellow card. That would be a yellow card. And I don't know about your theories about relationships, romantic relationships, but in my theory, you get enough yellow cards, you're going to get that's a red card and you got to go. There's like so many yellow lights, so many warnings, and you add all the warnings up. That just, and this is maybe a warning. This is maybe a warning right here. Ted does not have any redeeming features worth mentioning whatsoever. No. Oh, Donald, I've been married for 30 years and I'm not ready for that shirt. Yeah, I don't think I could be buried in that shirt. And I wouldn't be ready for that now. Hey, Wild Eden, how you doing? All right, so what are we doing? We're doing one more funny picture just to keep. Oh, hey. There's no surprise that I was a Bugs Bunny fan when I was growing up, and still am. A big Bugs Bunny fan. And he's doing some soft shoe, maybe a tap dance, I don't know. And there's Rush Limbaugh's grave to his left, our right. It's a subtle image, my friends. It's a subtle image. But for me, Bugs Bunny always upheld certain Enlightenment values, was clever, and loved to dine on revenge. And so maybe my spirit animal right there. Bugs Bunny, Brer Rabbit. Brain bug. Oh. What, the t-shirt with all the faces? I should just wear it on the stream. That would be interesting. Can you get that shirt with Ted Cruz on it? I don't know. Maybe with black and blued eyes. I mean, that's a possibility. All right, I promised you Florida. Some of you have probably already heard this story. If you have, please forgive me. Don't worry, there'll be another crazy story right after this. That's the one thing about going through the news cycle. There's always going to be another bunch of crazy. Governor Ron DeSantis says he'll order flags flown at half staff to honor Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh, the racist, misogynist, made fun of gays, made fun of people who had HIV, had AIDS on his channel, on his radio show. We covered that a couple of days ago, right? We remember that. But Rick DeSantis there, Ron DeSantis, I'm sorry, says he'll order flags flown at half staff to honor Rush Limbaugh. I don't know what he's actually honoring. Probably the misogyny, probably the homophobia, probably the idiocy. Let's take a look at the story. This is all the links in the description. Florida's governor announced he'll order flags in the state flown at half staff to honor the late conservative radio host Rush Limbaugh, who he called an absolute legend and a great person. Okay. Once the date of internment for Rush is announced, we're going to be lowering the flags to half staff, Governor Ron DeSantis said Friday at a news conference in West Palm Beach. The governor said to honor what we do when there's things of this magnitude. The move doesn't seem to fit the state's flag protocol, which calls for flags to be flown at half staff in the event of the death or present of a present or former official of the Florida state government, or the death of a member of the armed forces from Florida who dies while serving on active duty. Yeah, that's not Rush Limbaugh. He does not fit the bill. He does not fit the criteria for the flags to be flown at half staff. Now, we just talked about DeSantis making the announcement of the flags being flown at half staff. You're not going to be surprised with this. If everything else wasn't so horrible, there's a topping of idiocy on top of the terribleness. And you're not going to be surprised about this, especially people here in the, I was going to say, if you're here in the States, you're aware that Florida is oftentimes a steaming dumpster fire. But I think if internationally, Florida is known as that too. So Ron DeSantis said, hey, we're going to be doing the flags at half staff. And here's the layer of stupidity. The announcement made at mostly maskless event. DeSantis's announcement in honoring Limbaugh wasn't the only reason his news conference sparked controversies. Palm Beach County officials are now investigating the Hilton Palm Beach Airport Hotel after receiving reports that many of the more than 100 people who attended the indoor event there were not wearing masks. Palm Beach County Deputy Director of Public Affairs John Jameson told CNN in a statement. So if you're going to celebrate Rush Limbaugh, you might as well do it in a maskless event, right? That just makes sense. Hey, Dr. Osiris, glad to see you. Oh, yes. Rush did embody all the cardinal virtues of Florida, indeed. Hypocritical, 1 minute he's making fun of people afflicted with drug addiction. The next minute he comes out as a drug addict. There's just so many things. He's like a crap sandwich for Rush Limbaugh. There's just layers of crap on top of layers of crap. It's maybe a crap club sandwich with the different layers, right? Simply Secular. So your mom gets you that shirt. Oh, the one with all the faces, and all your girlfriends, mostly exes' faces on it. Is that her or you're bad? I like that. That would be a that would be horrible. That would be horrible. So Florida, in honor of Rush Limbaugh, his life as a bigot, they are lowering their flags at half staff. And of course, the announcement was made in a maskless event too. Oh, Florida, you do not disappoint. You do not disappoint. Let's see, what's the next story? Oh, Japan's Naked Festival. Yes, Japan's Naked Festival. I said it, and I'll say it again. Right from CNN International, or Travel. Japan's Naked Festival wasn't the same this year. What? One, I didn't know Japan had a naked festival. I had no idea it was going to happen. And two, I think I'm going to double down on that. I still didn't know until I read the story this morning. Let's check out what the Naked Festival was all about. This time a year ago, thousands gathered for Japan's annual Hadaki Matsuri. I probably butchered that name, but I'm driving right. Continuing, also popularly known as the Naked Festival in Okayama Prefecture in the southern part of Honshu Island. Naked Festival, the Naked Festival. Also known as Sadioyo, I completely butchered that name too. This holiday, this event takes place on the third Saturday of February at that temple right there that you see that I'm not going to try to pronounce. I've given up. At that temple right down there, about a 30-minute train ride from Okayama City, and this year was no exception. So what's this festival all about? Is it really naked? I'm glad you asked. This celebration, this event celebrates the blessings of a beautiful harvest, prosperity, and fertility. In normal times, it starts mid-afternoon with an event for young boys aimed at fostering interest in younger generations. In the evening, the 10,000 or so male participants spend an hour or two running around the temple grounds in preparation and purify themselves with freezing cold water before cramming themselves into the main temple building. I'm just going to look at the chat right now and see if anyone's talking about this would be a totally different story if it was a Catholic ceremony, if it was a Catholic event. Going to take a quick look to see if anyone's made that comment. Da, 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 da. Well, there you go. Naked what? Yes, Naked Festival. All right. Rush was all about hate. We'll go back to the story. Where were we? Naked Festival. So 10,000 dudes running around, bathing themselves in cold water. When the lights go out at 10 p.m., a priest throws 100 bundles of twigs and 2 lucky 20-centimeter long sacred Shinji batons into the crowd from a window 4 meters above. If you get one of these Shinji batons, you're supposed to have good luck for the next year. And are they naked? Are they really naked? No, they have a little Japanese loincloth around the nether regions. So they're not totally naked, though it is known as the Naked Festival. So you get 10,000 guys, 10,000 young men huddled together to basically fight for, or to battle for, or to compete for 2 lucky 20-centimeter long batons that are supposed to give you good luck. Links are in the description below, of course, as always. And just to let you know, people do get hurt at this festival. There's typically some sprains, twisted ankles, stuff like that. But it's interesting. They're not doing the festival this year like this. They're not cramming everyone into a large room or into a courtyard to do this festival, because that would be crazy. And Japan isn't Alabama. Japan isn't Florida. Japan isn't Texas. And what they are doing here at the temple is that they're just telling people, maybe you should do some social distancing and praying. Maybe you should be doing that. We won't be cramming people close together for a religious ceremony during the midst of a pandemic, because that would be crazy if people did that. Who would do that? Who would cram people together for a religious festival in a pandemic? At the end of the article, just to review exactly how Japan is doing during the COVID-19 crisis, here's a little bit of information. Daily COVID-19 cases have been in decline in recent weeks in Japan, though Tokyo is among several prefectures under a state of emergency to control the virus. The country has reported more than 424,000 COVID cases and more than 7,000 deaths. Okay, so 7,000 deaths. You ask yourself, I did Google how many people live in Japan. I believe, as I recall, it's 120 million people. And let's just generously say that's 1/3 of the population. Let's say that Japan has approximately 1/3 of the population as the United States of America. All right. And let's go a little bit more mathy. So America has about 500,000 deaths, which we know that's more. Well, we know that that's more because the approximations are just approximations. And there's an incentive to keep the numbers relatively low so people don't panic. So we've had 500,000 deaths, and Japan has had 7,000 deaths. 7,000. So 3 times 7 is 21,000, if I remember my math right from the crappy public school I went to. So that means, as against to having the amount of deaths here in the United States of America, Japan has dramatically less deaths. No surprise, sad, but, well, good job, Japan. Let's keep things positive here on the show. Good job, Japan, making good choices. If I was your high school guidance counselor or your middle school guidance counselor, Japan, I would say, keep up the good work. You're on the right track. Good choices. Good choices. Maybe here's a lollipop. And I'm not going to give you the crappy lollipops that have been in the bowl on my desk for weeks. I'm going to give you the good stash that I keep, in the drawer. Hey, Slade. How you doing? Glad to see you here. What have we been talking about? We're talking about Japan's Naked Festival, which has been changed this year to keep people socially distanced, because that's the rational thing to do. And of course, Florida flying its flags at half-staff in memory to honor Rush Limbaugh. Cold Woke TV, glad to see you here. Cold Woke TV. I feel like I should ask you to explain your name because that seems oddly specific, Cold Woke TV. All right, so are we halfway through? Are we? Well. I guess I guess this is halfway through the show today, because the show can go from anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. We're halfway through the news cycle, through the news. So Students at Rice University run around naked every month. Every month? Every month, even in the winter, even in the snow. Even then, they run around at Rice? Brave or something. Interesting. Simply salute. Simply secular. Remember that we don't know who Japan is testing and recording tests. Good point. Simply secular. If they are not using the same system as USA, they probably shouldn't be compared 1-to-1. All right. The 13th of the month. That's when they do the mass running around naked. Brave souls. Brave souls. Texas doesn't have snow. They never have snow. And they always have electricity and hot water. Hey, let's not go there. Let's do something funny. Let's do the halftime show. We're going to do the halftime show before we start talking about Texas, because the Texas story comes in two sections today. There's like actually two Texas stories, and I'm just lumping them into one. And then we're going to talk about evangelicals, because it's the United States of America and we have to talk about evangelicals, I guess. All right, let's do something.
I'm Madison McKenzie. I'm Cassidy McKenzie. We're the McKenzie twins. We're lead creatives at Diva London. Essentially, our creative process is philosophy percolated. It's the visual manifestation of subconscious lightning strikes. We're very analog in our thinking and very Scandi in our aesthetic. We avoid punctuation wherever possible. We think it really gets in the way. If anything's gonna date a campaign, it's punctuation. Initially, we dissect the zeitgeist and then we birth a smorgasbord of interpretations. After a gestation period of low-level activity like origami or ping pong, then kapow. Kapow! We've got a mindset-altering Instagram campaign dripping in value propositions. Totally scroll-proof, guaranteed. Wow, did you know that in the 1980s, TV just stopped at night? That is messing with my head.
I love comedians spoofing people with real jobs. You know, people who are working in advertising companies, squirrel proofing your value proposition, Instagram campaign, going into the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times with percolating subconscious powers. I thought that was clever, to tell you the truth. I thought that was funny. And I just love the gibberish. I love the gibberish. Right, Doctor? Yeah. Spot on, Wild Eden. Spot on. All right. So let's go with let's go with Texas times 2. Let's go with Texas times 2. What is this? You know, and let me tell you, I don't want to hound on Texas, but I got the angers the other day because I was watching the 538, watching and listening. I watched and then I listened to the 538 podcast, and they had a few people from Texas talk about the situation in Texas. And I'm like, I don't think this sounds right. They a lot of it. Now, I didn't see the whole episode. I saw like maybe 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes of the episode. And I'm like, there's a whole lot of, well, this is just what Texas does. And why would we winterize the grid? Because it's Texas. And you can always tell, and this is what irritates me as a host too, because when I have guests on, I try to educate myself on what they're doing and the topic that we talk about, right? It just seems to be something we should be doing. So there was someone, I'm not going to say they were from Rice University because that would irritate my girlfriend, but maybe they were from Rice University. And the assertion was something along the lines of, why would we winterize the grid? Because it's Texas. Well, there are reasons. There are reasons why you want to winterize the grid. And let's start talking about those. Links in the description as always. Here we go. 30 years of warnings to winterize Texas power plants, yet they still froze. Will Austin finally require it? ERCOT, which is not a state agency, but a nonprofit run by an unelected board, would not release the list of power generation facilities that failed this week. So if you're going to listen to some people, to some shows, they'd be like, why would you winterize the Texas grid? Well, there are reasons, because it turns out that winter does occur in Texas catastrophically at times, and it's happened in the past. State officials have failed to ensure that power plants across Texas can operate in extreme winter conditions, despite 3 decades of warnings and multiples examples of the same facilities failing storm after storm. According to regulatory documents uncovered by the WFAA, 26 power generators that failed in 2011 winter storm also failed during a similar 1989 storm, according to the review of the 2011 event written by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and the North American Electric Reliability Corporation. Warnings. Were they paid attention to? More than likely not. Apparently not enough, since we have this current fiasco. The majority of problems generators experienced in 2011 resulted from failures of the very same type of equipment that failed in an earlier 1989 event, according to the 2011 federal report. And in many cases, these failures were experienced by the same generators. The 2011 review quotes a state review of the 1989 storm. Quote, the near complete loss of ERCOT grid brings an awareness that, even in Texas, plant operators should prepare for cold weather emergencies. This awareness of and attention to cold weather problems must be continued. The 2011 report continues. Texas now has had a second event, and the answer is clearly that the corrective actions were not adequate or were not maintained. Generators were not required to institute cold weather preparedness, and efforts in that regard lapsed with the passage of time. It is possible that new ownership or new plant personnel lacked the historical perspective to make these efforts a priority, at least in the absence of externally imposed requirements. 30 years of warning. Yeah, didn't really have to do the job properly. Didn't need to. Oh. 32 years of doing nothing. That's right. 32 years of doing nothing. The big storm in 1989, the storm in 2011, same generators having issues, similar issues, and now it's 2021. And is it a surprise? Is it a surprise that the system failed? No, absolutely not. It is absolutely not. So you may say to yourself, because I feel like Texas and Florida are in this duel, maybe along with Mississippi and Louisiana. Maybe it's more like an old-fashioned medieval melee when you get a bunch of people into a fenced-in area and they just beat the crap out of each other. And the last one standing wins the idiocy award, right? Because you feel like that's the way how these American states are running their business. Texas is trying to get ahead of everyone else by not winterizing their grid, even though they've had 30 plus years of warnings. But how could Texas make it worse? How could the system be made worse? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm sure you've heard about this too. After days of mass outages, some Texas residents now face huge electric bills. Before we get into the article proper, let's just look at an example of what someone posted on Twitter about their bill. Like, how big can a bill be for your electricity? How is it a mountain out of a molehill? Are people just like exaggerating? No, they're not. Updated Gritty bill. It's such a clever name, Gritty. 13,000 square feet. Heat set for 60. No laundry. No running a dishwasher. No stove oven. Only used air fryer. Lights off during the day. Candles at night most of the time. TV on. Somehow they say I use 1,772 kilowatt hours at $5,000. $5,000. Man, I should have done a better shot of this. But yes, It was basically a $5,000 bill because there was just not the hours accrued at $3 a kilowatt hour, but there's also, of course, fees on top of that. So it eventually came out to $5,000. And how long was that time period? That was only from February 1st to the 19th. So during a pandemic, during the apocalypse, during the snow apocalypse, during the cold weather apocalypse, and COVID-19, Texas not only Texas decided to punch its residents with 3 different haymakers. Ted Cruz, we already know Ted Cruz is a scumbag, but Ted Cruz, COVID-19, which, I mean, there's so many things that Texas does wrong. And we covered this last week. 18% of the citizens of Texas have no health insurance, partly because of the state government's making choices about what to do with its money. COVID-19, Ted Cruz, electrical bills going through the roof. It boggles the brain. Okay. I'm taking a breath and I'm centering myself. I'm centering myself right now to continue with this story. So why are the power bills so high? Why? Good question. Let's check it out. Deep breath, Andy. Many residents face enormous bills for electricity they use during the storm. Residents with variable rate power plans are being hit the hardest. Such plans charge different prices for electricity depending on how much demand is. The more demand, the higher the price. Good job, capitalism. Spot on. Variable rate plans are enticing to many people because the price of electricity is often low during normal weather conditions, and because it theoretically allows people to use more electricity when the price is lower. For an example, by running appliances overnight. But when a winter storm caused Texas's grid to all but shut down last week, the wholesale price of electricity skyrocketed. So it's a variable rate plan, and there doesn't seem to be a cap, right? So you can argue the merits of having a variable rate electrical plan in your state, right? There might be some merits to it. But the idea that there's no cap set by the government, and this is what you get. I guess you just get Texas. That's what you get. Story continues. All right. One of the most popular wholesale plans in the state is offered by the company Griddy. Clever name. As the storm moved in, the company took an extraordinary step of urging customers to switch to a different electricity provider. But it was too late for many residents. Switching electricity companies can take days, and in the meantime, the price of electricity increased dramatically. Griddy customers have taken to social media to post harrowing examples of electricity bills gone haywire. So Griddy actually attempted to let people know, you don't want our service. You do not want the plan that we are giving you during this natural disaster. But it takes time. And let's face it, how many of us actually pay attention to our electricity bills? A lot of the time it's on auto pay. We're living busy lives, and it's easy to miss an email like that or a message. And then it takes days. It could take a while to switch electrical companies too. There's red tape, and then bam, you get hit with a $5,000 electrical bill. But wait, there's more. That's the evangelical story. We don't want to talk about that right now. Griddy laid the blame with the Electrical Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT. We've heard a lot about them, which manages the vast majority of the state grid, and the Public Utility Commission of Texas. As the storm caused temperatures across the state to plummet early last week, the Utility Commission ordered the council to allow prices to increase to reflect the lack of supply. As a result, the electricity prices skyrocketed. At least, so some states, of course, have taken action against these crazy variability plans. At least one state, Connecticut, has banned variable rate power plans for residential customers, and this is not the first time such plans have drawn scrutiny. After a polar vortex, after a 2014 cold snap caused electricity rates to increase by 300% or more, Pennsylvania's government took multiple utilities to court. maybe that's not a good idea, the variable plans. Maybe we should be a little bit, and I know this comes off as like being New England centric a lot of the times here because I'm a New Englander, as you can tell by the way that I butcher this the way I butcher the English language. But maybe just curbing or banning variable rate power plans for residential customers. Maybe that's a step forward. And here's the thing too, right? The answers to these problems that we face as a society, they are clear. It isn't like you need a think tank of big brains to reflect and consider them. It's like, wow, variable rate prices for electricity during a crisis. Maybe there should be an upper cap. Maybe we shouldn't be doing that. Maybe we should be making electrical companies actually winterize their generators. Maybe. Oh, see, I hit the wrong freaking button. Here we go. What are we talking about here? I'm on prepay meter for my electric. Dr. Osiris says, I'm always forgetting about it. In fact, I just realized I'm almost out and need to use the emergency credit. See, that's right. People don't pay attention to their electrical bills. The idea of this economic model, this concept that each one of us are making the optimal decisions at each time regarding our purchases is just absurd. Oh, see, here it goes, brain bug, asking questions about how are they supposed to capitalize off desperate people if they don't raise the rate? Exactly. Well, you can see why people would be enticed into this trap of having a variable rate for their electricity bills. Oh, I work 2 or 3 menial jobs. I mean, not menial, but low-paying jobs. And so I have to try to scrimp and save every single penny I can. So I'm going to go with a variable rate plan. Oh, wait, I'm too busy to actually notice that there's a storm coming and that'll affect my electrical bill. And then bam, you're screwed by late-stage capitalism once again. I think. And let's just talk about, and I don't want to get all Marxist here, but let's just talk about late stage capitalism and basically the how it's supposed to shake out. Basically, it's like societies are like alcoholics and they're drinking from capitalism. And like many people who have addictions, societies have to bottom out. They have to bottom out and get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And unfortunately, that means disasters like this happening, the Great Depression happening. And hopefully that's a wake-up call for societies to actually become or to put barriers to manage capitalism. Bottoming out. Oh, well, that's another good point. Natural catastrophe is totally a synonym for seller's market. Indeed. Yep. If I had a cat, capital C for the cat, I like that, it would be disappointed. Capital D, disappointed. I like that too. How are everyone else's cats doing? Any Texas cats? Good question. Oh, yeah. Well, Donald Trump, fine. Good seeing you. Donald Trump Jr. was blaming Democrat governors for Texas. Well, Republicans are really good at not taking responsibility. From the party that's supposed to like pull yourself up from the bootstraps, yeah, they are not big in taking responsibility for their own actions. The Scots for leaving the UK, yeah, I don't blame the Scots either. Not at all. Oh, blazing. We had snowstorms here this winter, never had a second without power. Yeah. So Texas, that was 2 helpings of Texas. Sorry for being so Texas and Florida centered this morning. It's a hard way to start a Monday. It's a hard way to start the week. But, we have to look at mistakes so that we can hopefully learn from them and understand where they went wrong. What went wrong? All right. And blazing, yep. I would just like to point out that Gritty trying to talk people away from their plans isn't actually doing anything. They could have self-imposed price ceiling during this. Well, that's right. They could have. That was just a CYA, cover your butt kind of thing, right? Always just covering your butt. All right, so what are we doing? Evangelicals. I can't believe it's 40 minutes into the show and we haven't talked about evangelicals yet. NPR story, link in the description. This isn't going to be surprising to any of us, but I feel like, once again, for new people coming onto the show, we should just go over. This is like remedial education in some way, right? Just going over basics. Disinformation fuels a white evangelical movement. It led one Virginia pastor to quit. You're gonna hear the song, the melody of this story, and you'll be like, oh, I know that tune. Jared Stacy is still processing his decision to leave Spotswood Baptist Church in Fredericksburg, Virginia last year. Until November, he was ministering to young parishioners in their 20s and 30s. But in the last 4 years, since he had joined the church as a pastor, Stacy had found himself increasingly up against an invisible, powerful force taking hold of members of his congregation. Conspiracy theories, disinformation, and lies. Stacy has seen real consequences of these lies build up over the years. He says it has tainted the name of his faith. If Christians in America are serious about helping people see Jesus and what he's about and what he claims, then the word evangelical is a distraction because it bears, unfortunately, the weight of violence, he told NPR. I would not use that term because of its association with January 6th. If there is one word that I have worked hard to demonize, I'll use the word demonize because I want to demonize a few words. I've done it on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief. I've done it here on my channel over and over again. It's evangelical. If you don't think evangelicals are synonymous, the same brand as white supremacy and fascism in this country, then you are either willfully ignorant or not aware of the facts. But let's go with the story. The lie is so powerful that a recent survey by the Conservative American Enterprise Institute shows that 3 in 5 white evangelicals say Biden was not legitimately elected. That's a lot of people. Among them is Pastor Ken Peters, who founded the Patriot Church in Knoxville, Tennessee last year. I believe that right now we have an illegitimate president in the White House and he's not elected by the people, Peters told NPR. I believe that truly we, the people elected, should be president, is residing in Florida right now. Florida, can we ever escape from you? Can we ever escape from Florida? Oh, by the way, I like it how NPR, it's basically telling you about how evangelicals are on the road of destroying the republic. And in the side story, in case you want to know more about it, a scary survey finding 4 in 10 Republicans say political violence may be necessary. That's just like as a sidebar, in case if you weren't scared enough by evangelicals, or if you weren't aware that evangelicals and the evangelical movement is just pure fascism and evil, check out this story. But let's drill a little bit deeper into this tale. The split, this is the minister saying, the split was kitchen tables where you have 2 completely different information streams, one that parents use and one their kids use. He said those 2 streams of information divided families. Older members of the church were entertaining conspiracies and younger members were pushing back. Once again, there's a lot of crap that has been said about millennials and Zers. And it's the boomers and the elder millennials elder millennials. Yes, I'm a millennial. Yes, I'm not a millennial. I'm an Xer. And elder Xers. It's the boomers and the elder Xers that are, and of course the silent generation, that are taking this disinformation and just spewing it out, and they're just eating it up. Many, not all. The recent study, oh, by the way, in case you want to hear more disturbing numbers, we have to throw some numbers here. The recent study by the American Enterprise Institute showed that 27% of white evangelicals, the most of any religious group, believe that the widely debunked QAnon conspiracy about political leaders running a child sex trafficking ring is completely or mostly accurate, and 46% say that they're not sure. They're not sure. That's the evangelical movement right here in the United States of America, everyone. If you weren't aware of it now, congratulations. Happy Monday. The newest story. Links are all in the description. Let's see what chat's doing. Hey, Paul Kamish. Going to go over to Paul Kamish's channel after this. That's why I'm going to be stopping soon. I'm going over to Paul Kamish's channel. It's his birthday day, as against to his birthday night. Maybe it is night over. No, it isn't. He's like 5 hours ahead of me, so it's still early afternoon over there. So I'm heading over to Paul Kamish's to help celebrate his birthday. Yeah, Paul. So if anyone is just tuning in, stories we covered today on the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. Yeah, the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. I think it sums up the vibe here. Florida flying its flags at half-mast for Rush Limbaugh. Japan, the Naked Festival, not the same as it has been in the past. Texas, double dose of Texas. Yes, about how they have had warnings to winterize their grid, which they ignored or didn't do good enough at. Let's just say that, right? And of course, why the electricity rates are so high for people who do have electricity in Texas. And the last story, evangelicals, just a minister who decided to leave his church because of the conspiracies polluting the parishioners there. And he couldn't be part of it. He couldn't be part of it. Yes, Paul Kamish, happy birthday, by the way. I should say happy birthday. Doing several things at once. It's Ian, Chariot's here. I didn't even see you in the chat. Didn't even see you. Oh, yes, I know, right? Yeah, Theo, glad to see you. Glad to see you. Yeah, Paul Kamish, good guy. Solid guy there. Going to be going over to his channel after this. All right. If you don't like Texans, does that make you a Texist? Interesting. All right. Let's go with, before we tie everything up and say our goodbyes, I'm going to show the last bit of funny. People, if you've been watching this channel, this particular manifestation of the morning show, then you know these guys. I think they're hilarious. Many of you, most of you do too.
I want to be the very best that no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. I'm going to follow through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon.
I love those guys. You know, it's just a silly bit. You know, the singer, great set of pipes there, great bunch of pipes. Just love his singing. Got that, you know, old school Jack Black vibe, and just hitting dudes on the head with empty plastic bottles. I can't get it. I mean, hilarious. All right. So that's it. That's for the show today. Gonna be doing some stuff at 3 p.m. my time. Gonna be playing some Jenga. Tomorrow we're doing, hey, did you guys see the show last night? We had the Rage on. We had the Rage on at our 10:30 late night show. Late night for me. All right. I know it's not late night, but 10:30 Eastern time for an hour show, and I have to be up and prepare for the show today. That's late for me, for a man of my age. So yeah, we had the Rage on, Jack Maturko and I. We talked about about what's going on with the Rage's channel and about what's going on in life in general. If you want to check it out, check it out. I also did this video about how to win at rock, paper, scissors. Yes, there are maths. There's game theory behind rock, paper, scissors, and I explained it. Well, I explained the basic stratagem, the basic strategy in this 40-second video. It's a 40-second video, and you can dominate rock, paper, scissors if you go with this strategy. But don't tell anyone, because then as soon as people start learning the strategy, then there's going to be this whole arms race about different rock, paper, scissors strategy. So just between us, you can take a look at the video and learn how to dominate rock, paper, scissors in your home or outside your home and in bars and pubs whenever bars and pubs open again. All right. Indeed. Poor man, Tenacious D. Is it poor? I don't know. Maybe. All right. I think that's the show for today, everyone. So maybe I'll see you over at Paul Camish's channel later on. If not, maybe I'll see you later on today. If not, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. tomorrow. We're just doing this all over again. We're also doing Atheist Drinking Out Loud on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern too. I thought I would plug that show. So, hey, be strong. And I will see you tomorrow on, what are we calling this? It's the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. I like the sound of it. All right. The Disappointed Chicken says, no clucks given. Well said, Simply Secular. All right. Take care, everyone. Doing the link to Paul Cabish. Who has a link that they could drop down for I and Cherry to Deer? I don't have one here. I'm way too self-absorbed thinking about disappointed cats. So if anyone has it, I know Paul Camish has a channel. I don't have it right here. Yeah, you can entertain yourselves while I go take a look for it. Sure. I'll be right back. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon. Yeah, I watch Pokemon. I'm not ashamed of myself that much. Maybe I should be. See, I'm talking to you as I'm typing, and this is like just great. This is just great entertainment right here. Paul Camish. And I can't find, where did I put his channel? I don't know. Did someone actually drop his channel on my chat? Hopefully you did. I'm sorry. I don't have it right here. So there you go. Very good, Doctor. Always with the links. That's great. All right. Take care. Epic pose. Got to figure it out. I'm going to do the looking off as if I'm on watch. I like that. All right, everyone. Hit the button. Watching. I'm on watch. Third watch.